Hello, welcome back. This is Grollenheimer. Okay, one of the best stories in the world, written by Charles Dickens, is A Christmas Carol. And every Christmas, I like watching the movies, and I've seen so many of them. It's hilarious. My kids love the Muppet Christmas version. My favorite is probably a mix up between the one with Alistair Sim and the other one where this is sad. I should have looked some of this up before I hit record. Obi-Wan Kenobi playing Marley. The musical. I like the musical. Not never watched Oliver. I don't care for Oliver. I've seen parts of that movie, but I understood that was the inspiration for them to do A Christmas Carol. That was either 72 or 1980, somewhere in there. But I also watched the one with 19. Started watching the one from 1938, and I forgot the actor who played Scrooge in that. And I've seen the Alistair Sim. You can see some of these old black and white ones free on YouTube. But I want to get into three aspects of Scrooge, and they're going to ask you a question here at the very end. Near the beginning of just about any of these movies, or even the book, less than 10 minutes into the movie, Scrooge is interrupted by two men asking for help, for money, alms for the poor, to be able to give something to the poor for the next day for Christmas, which kind of sounds kind of a little silly, but that could have been very well a thing back then. But at the same time, shouldn't we always be helping the poor with money, with things we don't need that someone else can use, whether it's toys, junk, shoes, socks, clothes, new clothes? It doesn't have to be hand-me-downs exactly. I mean, a lot of my life as a kid was nothing but hand-me-downs. But, and so they're asking for the very next day to be able to help the poor, to give them a, Christmas, so to speak. And Scrooge is like, no. He gives them nothing, but yet they actually remind him, well, your old partner Marley, who died 7 years ago this day, Christmas Eve, used to give them money. Was it a tax write-off? Did they do that in England of that era? I don't know. So, but yet of all the stinking things Marley supposedly did during his lifetime, and this is not about Marley. The story is all about Scrooge. A little more than that, but it's all about Scrooge and his in his story arc and his redemption. Okay, this is his redemption story. In somewhere along the lines, I have some of this down verbatim, a lot I don't, where in they're asked him somehow about his wishes, and Scrooge just comes out, I wish to be left alone. Since you ask me what I wish, sir, is to help the establishments. What are the establishments he's talking about? Well, in turn, at the beginning of the conversation that I almost missed, I forgot, he challenges them. He goes, well, are the prisons and union workhouses, are they still in operation? I hear a rumor they've been closed or something to that effect. And of course they correct him. Oh no, they're open. And he goes, well, since you asked me my wishes, I wish to be left alone in the establishments, to help the establishments, the prisons and the union workhouses where kids work. This is cold. This is just heartless. That I have mentioned before. Those who are badly off must go there. Dang, that's rough. I hope nobody of today thinks like this. I hope our elites, I hope they don't think like this. And then one of the two men is like, well, many can't. And some would rather die. And then Scrooge pipes back, if they would rather die, then they better do it and decrease the surplus population. Well, we can look at our elites now and the people that are trying to run us globally. Some people call this conspiracy. Some people are saying, no, this is true. That we are seeing a lot of this integrated and stuff being worked out. You know, you will own nothing and be happy, and you will eat the crickets and eat the bugs. You know, cow farts bad, climate change bad, all this other mess. And now I'm probably going to get the thingy on the bottom. Well, I'm not monetized, so I'm not worried about it. So Scrooge, the greedy rich guy, doesn't care about the poor. He'd rather them just let them go away, let them expire, you know, give them to the workforces where they can do something and add usefulness to society. Well, that might be a good thing, but at the same time, decrease the surplus population? Again, there's some 3-letter agencies I would love to mention on TheTube that come to mind. And then, not to mention, if this, I don't want to get this in here, but unfortunately, a lot of people with the parakeet in the mirror syndrome, and if that mentality and this ideology grows and grows and grows and grows, and all our young people are just loving on the same sex as somebody that looks like them, parakeet in the mirror syndrome, that's what I call it. You look at some of my really old stuff before the Transformer TCG came out, you'll find it back there. Because we used to have parakeet. We went through 3 different parakeets. They all could have been male. I have no idea. But they would see the mirror. They thought it was a real bird. And they be in heat and go and try to go on the bird. But it's their own reflection. An animal in heat will do anything. Even its own... We had to clean the mirror multiple times. The parakeet in the mirror syndrome. Now do you get it? And if that mentality grows among our youth, and this ideology is eating away at our kids and our young adults, that leads to death. That's not procreation. Opposites do attract. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep going. And in turn, would decrease the population. Used to be jokes we used to say, especially when I was in a call center like 20 years ago or so, and all the ladies would get pregnant almost all at the same time, about the same time of year, and we'd all joke, oh, there must be something in the water, you know? Anyway, Scrooge. Well, then that happens, okay. And then Fred walks in, his nephew Fred. Fred, you know, neither to borrow money or beg for a mortgage, uncle, only to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Keep Christmas in your own way and leave me to keep it. But I don't keep it. But you don't keep it. That's what he said. I can't read my own writing. But you don't keep it. Wow. Don't keep it, then let me be and leave it alone then. So, and then, you know, I didn't finish the quote. Don't keep it, then let me leave it alone then. Much good may it do you to keep it. No good has it done you. It's done me no harm. I'm not great with English accents. I'm from Alabama. Okay? But Scrooge is very much going SJW on Fred, policing his very speech. He doesn't want to hear the words Merry Christmas. Does he say bah humbug? No. Maybe in the Rich Little's A Christmas Carol version, there's a lot of bah humbugs and there were so many. You can find that for free on YouTube also. If you haven't seen the Rich Little's Scrooge or Rich Little's Christmas Carol, it's hilarious. He does almost all the characters. I miss him. And but anyway, so there's a version you probably haven't ever seen. It was on HBO only. Now it's on YouTube. It's not the best quality, but it's funny. It's funny. It's a good parody, while keeping the same themes. So yeah, Scrooge is now, not only does he would rather see the population decrease, especially with those poor people. Now he's also wanting to police Fred's mouth. He wants to police Fred from telling him a Merry Christmas. Because nothing brings him happiness, nothing brings him joy. And that's all Fred is doing. Happy-go-lucky Fred. Let's go on a little further. Of course, what does Fred say? It's done me no harm. Tell Merry Christmas to anybody. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. What did we just go over a few videos ago with the Gamers Need Christ? Merry greetings. Hebrew greetings. And the Jewish greetings. The angel came to Mary and gave her a certain greeting. And it was a greeting she probably never heard of before, and it went not over her head, but like a slap in the face, like, whoa. We still don't know what the angel said. So here's a greeting. Merry Christmas. But, ears of little faith would rather hear happy holidays. Okay. Thank you for it's Veterans Day. Yeah, thanks a lot. But happy holidays. No, Valentine's Day in here. Yeah, happy holidays. Oh, was Thanksgiving just happy holidays? Oh, well, thank you, but St. Patrick's Day in here. Happy holidays. 4th of July. Oh, we got a good months away. Happy holidays. You get the point? Every holiday is a holiday. The only reason I might consider happy holidays is a decent greeting if you're actually putting Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, and Happy New Year all in one for the whole season of those 2 months. Well, I'll agree to a happy holiday, even though happy holiday implies one day. Happy holidays implies a lot more. So I will agree to a happy holidays, maybe not a happy holiday. Depends on the day, depends on the holiday. Christmas is still Christmas. We've been fighting this for longer than I've been born. There's even a news article from, I think, CBS or somewhere, November of 2003, that was also talking about the destruction of the word, taking the word Christ out of Christmas, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, really? I can't remember if I found it from an old Rush Limbaugh article or if I found it myself through the internet doing a search some time ago. But there was. Attacking Christmas, trying to get rid and policing what they want us to say, whoever they are, which is basically non-Christians. Well, not all non-Christians, but non-believers. People without any faith. People without any scruples. People that are petty. People with hate in their heart. People that might even be evil. And that's a sad thing to think about, because we're reading about one right here. Scrooge. I almost said Scrooge McDuck. Ebenezer Scrooge. So let's keep going. I'm running out of time. So yeah, Scrooge is not only wanting to, hey, let's population, bad. You're telling me, you're giving me this greeting, police that. No, I don't want to hear it. Humbug. No, thank you. You know? Much good may you do to keep it, not good if it's ever done to you. Oh, it's done me no harm. It's just a greeting. Uncle, Merry Christmas. I'll say it again. You can't stop me from talking. Merry Christmas. No, your way with nature has done that in your marriage. Marriage? Bingo. Point number 3. My marriage was my making. Was the making of me. Excuse me. My marriage was the making of me. Which means this seven little worded sentence from Fred, which of course written by Dickens. It almost makes me wonder if Dickens is writing more, putting some of himself into Fred. There might be a lot of his personality traits that he's kind of giving all of these, sprinkling in all of his characters. A lot of authors do that. My marriage, he's owning up to it. Making of me. He chose it. He loves her. They courted. They married. There's a lot that goes into marrying someone, even more so back in that time. Obviously, Scrooge knew about her. Don't know if he went to the wedding or not. We're not really privy to that much. Might be in the book. There's another part of the book I want to mention here in a second. But then, "Done really enough you," says Scrooge. "Come see for yourself, Uncle. Please dine with us." I'm paraphrasing. I don't have that verbatim. And then Scrooge comes back saying, "You married against my wishes. The penniless marrying the penniless." Boom. Here comes back the poor. So he's getting on to him for marrying somebody with no money. It almost implies Fred worked with him. Maybe not. I don't remember that anywhere in the book, but it could be a small implication that when he got married, he left working for Scrooge, and then Scrooge, maybe Marley passed around that same time, and then he hired Cratchet. And Cratchet's been working with him for some years. I don't remember that details of the story. In a lot of the movies, they don't even touch on those timelines, so to speak. So Scrooge didn't want his nephew to marry, and then quickly, we do hear about and learn more of Ebenezer's past, all the things that he lost to make him who he is. But yet when he does find a girl, he is smitten with her. I think her name is Elizabeth. I can't remember her name, but was that his sister's name? I can't remember which. I'm getting them all mixed up a little bit. I apologize. I didn't write all of this stuff down because I wasn't really thinking I was going to go in that direction. But he falls in love with a girl. They don't marry, I don't think. I don't remember. But she is living with him, so maybe they did get married. But she left him because he found a new love. Transformer toys? No, money. Money. This can be bad too. And I've seen some collections that are like, what have you done? What have you done? Why? So yeah, this is one of my sins, and I'll own up to it and admit it. But for Scrooge, it was greed. It was money. The more, the better. And that's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. That was the cat. So much. His possible wife, I don't know, maybe they were I think they were engaged. They hadn't married yet. They were engaged. She found out some of his true nature. Yeah, he was more in love with money than her, and she left. I think I'm remembering that correctly now. Correct me below. I don't. That's fine. That's fine. But so with that, we know it's very obvious. Scrooge is projecting here. He's really jealous of Fred and what Fred has, for the most part. But at the same time, when his girl left him because he was more in love with money than her, and he never really quite married, now he's also bitter about marriage and what that can do to a person. It's a commitment to money, to possessions, to your car, to your animals, to your land, people with property and farm and farm hands, etc. people, working for you, having to keep up with them more in your business and your work than who you married? For the money? For drugs, maybe? Instead of who you married? You know, who was it? Was it Stephen Curtis Chapman? So there was some Christian's old song from some years ago. I think it was him. God or Jesus, I want to make you my number one passion. Or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact lyrics. And when you're married, you need to make your wife your number one passion. Well, maybe God should come first if you're Christian, and then your wife. But sometimes we let our addictions rule us. Some people allow their emotions to rule them. And because of this, in Fred's marriage, and the invitation for Scrooge to not eat with him Christmas Day, he didn't want to do it. He doesn't like the idea of marriage anymore now. He's against marriage. Who else is against marriage? Well, we mentioned the alphabet people a few minutes ago. And how if that ideology grows, it could decrease the population because the same sexes are playing with each other. No real procreation going on there. Know your way with nature. Charles Dickens knew the natural tendencies that opposites attract. Has done that in your marriage. You fell in love. But yeah, Scrooge is obviously jealous. But at this point in his life, he was also adverse to marriage. Disliked marriage because of what his past was. And we finally learned that some chapters later when he's visited by the ghost of Christmas past, and we learn more about Ebenezer Scrooge. So we have three things here. Do you know anybody like this? Somebody that is against marriage? Someone that is wanting the population to decrease? Maybe they're pro-abortion? I don't know. That despite wanting to the war between, or the battle between the haves and the have-nots, and wanting to whip the haves down so they can bring them down because we're the have-nots and we have nothing. I'm the victim here. Scrooge is a victim of many things, and a victim of his own choosing as well, because he was too addicted to money, too short-sighted to see where his choices were taking him in his life. And it takes the ghost of Marley, the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future to go, look at this, look at your life. Look at your life. Look where you are going. It is coming to a dead end. You are living a life of death. This is not a life of life. Do you know anybody like that? Somebody that's maybe against marriage, somebody that's against population, that enjoys population control, someone that has issues with addiction, someone that wants to control your thoughts, someone that wants to control what you say and get rid of your free speech. There's a lot of people like this today that are just like Scrooge. Just like it. And I think, thanks to Charles Dickens, I think he knew exactly the type of people he was writing this about. We're seeing it in real time. Because there are people that champion death. We've got to counter that with love and loving life. And that is what Christianity is all about. I'm not talking about something that happened 200 plus years ago. Oh, well, they changed the Bible how they wanted to. Explain the Dead Sea Scrolls then. That validated most of the Bible. How very little it has changed. We've been able to go back to the source, decipher it, fill in context that we're missing in today's time. Something to think about, because the Christians of today, we're not exterminating people. We're getting one-on-one and trying to save one soul at a time to bring them back into a life of living life. Are you for life? Are you for death? It's beginning to sound like Glenn Beck now. But again, think of the facets that we just talked about. Scrooge, these three facets, about 3.5. And how it changed him once he realized he was on death's door until he could turn it around. There's mentioning of Christ littered throughout the written text. My book that I had from the 80s it's missing. I don't know where it is. His fireplace had depictions of biblical events. You don't see that in any of the movies. So there's a lot of Christian metaphors and allegories sprinkled throughout the book that the movies leave out. Because we need to be sprinkling righteousness in our life to bring us to understand to love life and not love death. Praise be to God. Merry Christmas. We'll see you on the next one.